Welcome back to Leeds Lately. Leeds have just, of course, as you can see down below me, won 1-0 at Ashton Gate Stadium against Bristol City. And it was a good performance. It was a good performance. And most of all, before we get into anything, it takes us to second place in the table. Now, I was just saying this to my live stream about 5 minutes ago before I finished. But it's the fact that it takes us to second place. Yes, those other teams have got games in hand on us. This weekend they'll play. You've actually got 2 games in hand on us, Southampton and Ipswich Town. By the end of the weekend, it'll only be 1 game in hand. But the point is that psychologically, we've climbed that mountain. We've proved that we can climb that mountain and make up that points difference between us and Ipswich. They made a massive gap between us. Them and Leicester were away, completely away at one point. And we have finally managed to bridge that gap, climb up, get back above them and spend our first night in second place of the season. Now, for us, that is psychologically amazing because it shows that we can do it. It shows that we can beat those teams. We've beat Ipswich twice. We smashed 8 goals in past them. We lost against Southampton, of course, but obviously our next game against Southampton is the last day of the season, so that one is going to be tasty. But let's talk about the actual game, because it was a bit of a weird game. I thought because we created a lot of chances, right? But a lot of those chances came through the midfielders, and I think that although in a game, it sounds weird to say, in a game where we created a lot of chances, I think Bamford really lacked service. I really do. I think Bamford, yes, his hold-up play was good, but at times there was never really a moment where you sort of saw Bamford getting a chance to have a proper shot on goal. I think there was one he might have had where the keeper saved it, if memory serves. But I think overall, Bamford actually struggled to get a bit of service, but I did think that across the front line, Somerville, Jorginho and Gnonto all played pretty well. Gnonto, of course, let's talk about that. Gnonto got his goal coming across the goal, across the face of goal, and then he shot with his left foot, give the goalkeeper the eyes. It was a weird goal. It looked like it kind of deflected, but I don't think it did. And the goalkeeper went one way and it went just past him the other way. So that was all she wrote. We won 1-0 based on that goal, and Gnonto obviously getting his second goal of the season. That'll do wonders for his confidence. And this is the moment for him, because this is when Dan James is injured and he's got that first starting right wing position. And he needs to make and take advantage of this opportunity, and he looks like he has so far. So hopefully that continues in our upcoming games before Dan James is able to make it back into the starting lineup, because it gives us another excellent option out there. And I think at the moment, well, not at the moment, but recently, he's kind of been lacking in that aspect. And you'd thought having Dan James and Wilfred Gnonto as your 2 right-wing options would be amazing, but Gnonto hasn't really lived up to that. Today, I think he did. He got his goal. I think he played well. I think he defended really well, which is something that impressed me. Really worked hard to get back, and it kind of shows an attitude shift from him. So keep an eye on that, because I think he may have turned over a new leaf there, Wilfred Gnonto, and I'm pretty happy with the way he performed, especially coming back and defending and stuff as well. So that was good. I thought that, let's do the players then if we're going to do that. So I thought that Bamford obviously played well. He did well in those moments where he had to hold the ball up, but wasn't really able to get on the end of anything. Usually we start back to front, but let's start front to back. Talked about Gnonto. Let's talk about Jorginho. Jorginho, again, really good from him. I don't think it was his best performance. I don't think it was his worst performance, but I think it was sort of above average for him. Well, maybe not above average for him, but above average for a championship player. It was a very good performance for a championship player, but he's obviously almost like a level above that. But I did think that he played well. I think he held the ball up well. I thought he brought players around him well. I thought he was really unlucky with that chance that the goalkeeper saved over the bar from point blank range, where it sort of dropped to him and he shot from really close in, and it was saved over the bar. It was a really good save from O'Leary. So I thought I got lucky not to score, and I think overall he had a good game. I think Somerville was good because he did a lot of Somerville things. He got himself into positions where he made tackles in the final third when he was pressing. He won the ball back. He had chances to go through on goal. He had chances to play his teammates, and he got in those positions, which is very Somerville. But what I think was off today was his decision making. I think that chance where he was running through the middle, Kamara was running on his right and Jorginho was running on his left. He gave the ball to Kamara, and then Kamara's obviously not a finisher because he just never shoots. And his little sort of dinked finish just was saved wide. And I think if he'd have gone the other way to Jorginho, he'd have a better chance of scoring that. So I think decision-making lacked for me, for Somerville. I think next we're going to move on to somebody who was, I think, our worst player, and I don't want to bag on him too much because I think Glenn Kamara has been a fantastic player for Leeds over the last, over this season, over the whole course of the season. He's been really, really good. Don't think it was his best game. I think he struggled a little bit. Not even like keeping up with the pace of the game. He just seemed a bit off it today. He just didn't seem quite right, and I didn't think he had a great game. So unfortunately for him, he got dragged off, and people were saying, oh, he looks really angry. I think he's going to be angry at himself for having quite a poor game, to be honest. Alongside him in the midfield, Ilya Gruev did what he does all the time. I don't think it was his best performance, but I do think he played well. I think he got on the ball well in midfield. I think he broke things up. I think he tried to play the ball forward whenever he could, and also helped out with the defence whenever he could, and slotted into that centre-back role when he needed to. So I think he had a good game. Junior Firpo, a little bit along the same lines as Glenn Kamara. I think he struggled a little bit in this game in terms of finding feet with his passes, and he just seemed to be, again, a little bit off it today. I don't know what that was, but hopefully that improves next week. Ampadu made one mistake that nearly led to a goal when he headed it back to Meslier, and he didn't head it quite far enough for Meslier to be very switched on to come out and get that. But overall, I think Ampadu had a good game, dictating things from the back. Joe Rodon, fantastic again. I love Joe Rodon's performance. I think probably, I wouldn't say he's my man of the match, but he's certainly up there as a candidate because I think he played really, really well. And I enjoyed the way he played today. And well, I don't think anybody else actually played fantastically well. So maybe I would give my man of the match to Joe Rodon. I just like the fact that he's always in the right place at the right time. You know, when a cross comes in towards the back post, and so many times over the last couple of years, you've just expected a big, tall striker to come in at the back post and just nod that in past the goalkeeper. But Joe Rodon just always seems to be there now, in the right place, in the right time, and he just heads it away and gets us out of danger. And I think that's invaluable to have in your defence, and I think he's fantastic at that. Archie Gray, I think there's two sides to his game. There's the good and the bad, and I think the good side is that he played beyond his years in terms of defensively. I think the way he got his body in between the player and the ball and just shielded that one out for a Leeds goal kick, and the way that he was able to use his body and muscle people off the ball at times, I thought he played well in that aspect. I think going forward, his decision making lacks. It lacks decision-making. He lacks decision-making. I think some of the chances that we could have had going forward and he's given the ball away is a little bit disappointing. And hopefully that's what Connor Roberts comes in and fixes. Hopefully that's what Connor Roberts comes in and applies to the game, is that when he does get up there into the final third, he's confident in his decision. He makes that decision to overlap or underlap or cross the ball into the box, for example. And I think Archie Gray just lacks a bit of confidence in that aspect, but it's not his position naturally. And I think that will allow, Connor Roberts coming in will allow Archie to go back into that midfield, and that will really help things out there. Meslier, I thought Meslier was good. I thought Meslier barely had to make a save, but when he did, he was alive to it. He made a really good save. He made some punches as well from corners. He was a bit more confident with his punching, got the ball clear when he needed to, and also his distribution I thought was quite good as well. There was one chance where Jorginho, the one where the goalkeeper came across the top of the head and did almost like a Superman punch to Jorginho when he punched the ball away. I thought that pass from Meslier was like Edison-esque. Like, just to see that run from Jorginho and to pick him out was an excellent pass from Meslier. And I appreciated seeing that. I liked that. Did I think that Farke made his substitutions a bit late? Well, we won the game, so you can't really criticise too much, but I do think at certain points some of our attackers looked absolutely knackered, and some of our defenders did as well. So maybe a little bit earlier than that would have been ideal. But overall, I think you've won the game, look. And like I said at the start, it brings us right back to what we said at the start. The fact that we've gone second shows us that it's possible. It shows us that we can do it, and that we've climbed this sort of miniature mountain within our season, and we can move on to just keep winning. It's the first time I think ever Leeds have won the first 5 games of a calendar year, so that's fantastic. Oh, the league games, because obviously we drew in the FA Cup against Plymouth, but fantastic win, fantastic result. Thanks for watching Leeds Lately, and I'll see you in the next one.